called the April 25th, 2017 Board of Supervisors meeting to order, and we do have a quorum. I would ask everyone to please stand. We have the Jacob Ben over here from Rural Retreat Baptist Church to do the invocation, and everybody remain standing for the pledge, please.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for your goodness and your blessings, and Lord, we thank you for our community. We thank you for our leaders who work so diligently to guide and to oversee and to make decisions that would better our people. Lord, I ask that you just be with this meeting now, give wisdom and guidance in every detail. Father, I ask that your blessings be upon us, our schools, and Lord, as we seek to develop our future, may we be exactly in the center of your will and have your guidance and blessing. Lord, as we think about all that you've done for us so far and how good you've been, Lord, we just want to say thank you. Lord, I ask you that you would be of each of these who are leading, each of those who are representing their districts, Lord, that you would guide them, keep them, help them to be about the business that would be for the betterment of the community, the people, and your kingdom. Lord, we thank you for the freedom we have in these United States. Lord, we thank you for the blessings upon us. I ask you to continue to bless us, bless our county, our communities, and bless America. And thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, welcome everyone. We have some honored guests this morning, and we'll get right into our agenda. And I'll ask Mr. Steve Willis to do the first presentation.
Sebastian, you want to come up? Oh, you get center stage. Congratulations. Now, if I can get through this. Wythe County Resolution 2017-02, a resolution honoring Sebastian Lamro of the Georgia Wythe High School wrestling team. Whereas freshman Sebastian Lamro completed his 2016-27 wrestling season with an overall record of 35-3. And whereas Sebastian Lamro advanced to the 2016-17 Virginia High School League Group 1A State Wrestling Championship, and whereas Sebastian Lamro defeated the competition, capturing the 2016-17 State Championship title in the 106-pound weight class, and whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors officially commends Sebastian for his outstanding dedication, athletic ability, and sportsmanship. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors present this resolution to Sebastian Lamro in recognition of the 2016-17 106-pound weight class individual state championship title, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be incorporated into the official minutes of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors, adopted the 25th day of April, 2017. Congratulations. Good job.
Okay, I entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations. And now, I'll ask Dr. House if you come up and present some.
All I can say is 4 times means to begin to be a habit. We do congratulate you, but the community and everyone is proud of you because we know that state championships are not won by chance. They're won by hard work, and they're won by dedication and commitment. And what all of us want for you all is that you will take that same drive and commitment and work ethic into everything you do, whether it's your school or your work or your family or your church. Don't let this attitude die with just resting. Take it into your life and continue. And I'm sure that you will. I'm sure that you will. So let me read this. Wythe County Resolution 2017-01. A resolution honoring the Royal Retreat High School wrestling team. Whereas the Royal Retreat High School wrestling team completed their 2016-2017 season with an overall team record of 13-3. And whereas the Royal Retreat High School wrestling team advanced to the Virginia High Schools League's Group 1A State Wrestling Championship. And whereas the Royal Retreat High School wrestling team surpassed the competition, earning 200.5 points and the designation as Virginia High School League 1A State Wrestling Championship. And whereas the Royal Retreat High School wrestling team's victory earned the team their 4th consecutive overall state championship. And whereas Trey Boyd, 120-pound weight class, bested the opposition, capturing his 4th individual state championship title. Josh Wynn, 126-pound weight class, netted his 3rd individual state championship victory. Trent O'Neill, 152-pound weight class, Ethan Martin, 170-pound weight class, and Harley Mitchell, 195-pound weight class, each earned their 2nd state championship win. And Devin Meredith, 182-pound weight class, Cade Rouse, 220-pound weight class, and Ben Sowers, 285-pound weight class, each garnered their 1st individual state championship titles in their respective weight class. And whereas the Royal Retreat High School wrestling team completed an extraordinary season and displayed outstanding dedication, athletic ability, and sportsmanship. And whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors officially commends and congratulates the Royal Retreat High School wrestling team comprised of Trey Boyd, Jason Dix, Jacob Huff, Ethan Martin, Devin Meredith, Harley Mitchell, Trent O'Neill, Cade Rouse, Trey Shoemate, Ben Sowers, Ross Vythe, Josh Wynn, and head coach Rick Boyd for their spectacular 2016-2017 season. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors present this resolution to the Royal Retreat High School wrestling team in recognition and appreciation of their achievements and dedication, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be incorporated into the official minutes of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors adopted this day, this 25th day of April, 2017. Fellas, if you all will come up, please. If you all will kind of make a semicircle, just like that big one on the wrestling mat. Coach. This one's for the school, and these are for anybody who's not here or any other coaches. These are, just right there. Folks, the Royal Retreat High School 4-time Central State Wrestling Champions. Yeah, it's funny. I remember their parents. Thank you all. Thank you, folks.
Again, thank y'all and congratulations, and thank Mr. Willis and Dr. Hausman for presenting that. We move right.
We need I'll make a motion, we accept that resolution.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and second to adopt the resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Now, thank you. I keep forgetting them for some reason. Move right on into our agenda, citizens' time. Ms. Myers,
Yes, gentlemen. At the last meeting, I brought you a present. I was wondering if you had had time to scrutinize that present and what was the outcome of your investigation.
I wasn't here at that
Do you
meeting.
know if they have made any more investigations at the feedlot in Speedwell recently? VDOT will be here at 10:30. We sent the information on to VDOT. I have not heard anything back from them myself. Apparently, Mr. Vaughn is not here.
And considering it a public health issue, that wouldn't go anyplace else? Has it gone anyplace else?
It has not. We can check with VDOT on that again and see.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, that's all that was signed up. Does anybody else would like to speak during citizens' time? Hearing none, I'll close citizens' time. Next item on the agenda is minutes of the previous meeting, April 11th and April the 18th. Work session, I have a motion to accept.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
Have a second. Have a motion and a second to approve the April 11th and 18th minutes. Any discussion, corrections, or changes to be made? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Housen?
Aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain, which I was absent at both of those meetings. Next item on the agenda is payment of invoices. Entertain a motion to pay the invoices.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion second to pay the invoices. Is any invoice any board member would like to discuss or pull out? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Next item on the agenda is old business. Mr. Barrett, anything under old business we need to take care of this morning?
I'm not aware of anything, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. On to reports. Ms. Gwen? Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Okay. The financial statements that you had received for the month of March reflect in our general fund, we have $39,321,027, and the consolidated account consists of $56,865,588. Kind of update on our office, we finally were able to go live on the Tyler Munis system April the 5th, and that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it. It's been a struggle, very much a struggle. At this point, I'm going to request that the board consider bringing the Tyler folks back in for additional training and work with us. It's taken us, seems like forever, but somebody can come in and have one tax bill to pay, and it's taken us a good 10 minutes to get them waited on, because we're trying to find our way through the system and figure out what we need to do. There's still a lot of things we haven't gotten to work on yet. We did not get to work with the Tyler folks when they were here. I had David down yesterday. We were trying to resolve some issues, but neither one of us really could get that figured out either. But it's going, but going is about all that it's doing at this point. So that's kind of where we're at in the treasurer's office. Does anybody have any questions on anything related to us?
Well, when we talk about the system getting used to it, of course, you all are complicated. I mean, whether you're doing a paper pencil.
I think we're more
complicated.
complicated than I thought we were.
Well, I mean, do you think it's unusually hard, or is it just that, I know nobody likes to switch systems.
Right, and we're trying to adjust, because before, all of our information pretty much was on one screen. If you came in to pay your taxes, we pulled you up, we found you on one screen. Now, with the cashiering side, if you come in and you have 3 vehicles on your tax bill, all we are seeing, and all that the program allows for us to see, it just listed as vehicle, 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 and then groups license fees. It doesn't tell us what type of vehicle you have. So if you're only wanting to pay on 1 or 2 of the 3, we're having, which we've discovered we're pretty much going to have to do with everybody anyway, we're having to go over actually into the Tyler Munis system. And we have an option for bill inquiry, customer inquiry, parcel inquiry, things along that line. But you go into one screen to find your information, and you have to keep drilling down, and you can go down 5 screens before we ever get to the information that we need to tell you what 3 vehicles you're being taxed for. And it's very time consuming. It's the way the program is written, and I do understand that. But it's very time consuming right now. We are trying to find our way through it. It's really a struggle. We've finally gotten caught up on our previous days between Mr. Southers pulling our information to load into Tyler, plus when we could start using it. We've gotten caught up on that, but there's still hiccups in trying to get all of that entered and just kind of get to where we feel like we can function. Because right now, none of us in the treasurer's office are confident with our ability to wait on anyone come October.
Do you think that
It's-
more training would correct us, will help? Well, I know it will help.
I
correct
think
the
it
problem.
would, because right now, the Commissioner's Office has put in supplements and things like that. We're not even to all of that yet. We're still trying to just figure out how to wait on people. And if someone comes in, they need tax information, need a reprint, be able to reprint that, pull up the information, figure out where to find it, how to get to it, and just be able to drill down enough that we can find folks. It's really a struggle right now. It really is. I've tried to stay as positive as I can, but we're all dropping.
But I mean, are there ways to make queries that will pull up what you need, just boom? I mean, a couple things. When I get my tax ticket this next time, you're saying that it won't have my individual vehicles listed, it'll just say vehicle.
It's supposed to have your detailed information on there. That should print on the tax bill as far as showing, what your 3 vehicles are, whatever you have. But if you come in and you do not have that bill with you, we're having to do, I won't say an entirely extensive search, but to find you, we go into customer inquiry, so we can locate you and your spouse. But if we need additional information on that, we have to just kind of keep drilling down and go into a couple more screens before we can see that, for example, you have a Dodge, Ford, and a Chevrolet. It's very time consuming right now, especially folks come in, because most people don't bring their bills, and especially this time of year. They definitely don't bring them. And just trying to get them waited on as efficiently as we can, but also to the extent that they're not having to stand there and wait on us for 15 minutes to pay 2 tax bills because we're trying to locate them. It's very invasive. Come by, we'll show you what we're talking about. We'll be glad to go through it with you. I feel like at some point it will get better, but I just feel like we need those folks to come back in and try to work through some more kinks with us, because
So what you?
I just don't know that we're gonna.
What you're looking for is if you type in not my name, it's gonna pop up what I have an owed taxes on. And you're saying it doesn't do that right now?
It will pull you up. If you have, for example, between real estate and personal property, let's just say you have 4 tax bills, we can go in and click on one, but what it does now is it assigns you have a current bill number based off of our old system. Then you get assigned a customer number, but then you also get assigned on personal property side a personal property ID number. Of course, real estate, your ID number is your parcel. We go in, and once we pull up, it'll show the 4 bills for you. We pull up one, we take it over into cashiering to be able to put in that payment. But to go back and find you again, we have to go back into Munis, search for you again a second time, and get that number, unless we have a notepad, which we've been keeping notepads at the computers, that we write down all of your numbers to start with, that when we go back to cashiering, we can wait on you. So
we're back to paper and pencil.
yes, we are. We are. So if you have multiple properties that it didn't group you all into one customer number, we're having to do a lot of back and forth to be able to locate you and to cover all of your tax bills. So it's, and there's things that are good. It's not all bad. Don't get me wrong. Now, if any of you come in and let's say your spouses are listed first on a vehicle and you're second, we can search for you and we'll be able to locate that tax bill versus before you have to tell us what your spouse's name was in order to be able to find you if we didn't already know it. You know, it's given us some advantageous things like that, being able to capture images of the checks as far as payments. The system endorses the checks. There's a lot of other things too that I know I'm not covering, but that's kind of the high spots. It's just figuring out the operation. This is much harder than even the GL was. The GL seemed to be a breeze compared to this right now.
But you think there are ways to do it, it's just that you all have not had the training yet?
We've had training to an extent. I just think
You're talking about basic
yeah,
operation.
need more, I think more in depth. And I think, you know, if we can have someone, I know Jim, which has been our main guy, I think he's on other projects now, but he, of course, is familiar with our current system and the transfer of data over as far as the setup. But there's another guy, Chris, that we've used a couple of times, but there's some things that he's not entirely familiar with that Jim would be. But I don't know, if we can get, I think, just somebody, it may take another session or two. I don't know.
Mr. Barron, can you give
Exactly.
Mr. Suthers, see, get the tower and see if we can schedule some more training?
Actually, Ms. Barker brought up a similar request. I talked to her a couple weeks ago on some training. Mr. Grant is already setting that up. I don't know if
Okay.
it's scheduled yet or not, but he is already, he came and talked to me about it and talked about some of the difficulties during, the same thing they said during training. When you're trying to do training, you come across the system glitches and the
Right.
data transfer, and so they requested, and I said, absolutely. We need to maximize the training in the system to maximize our use of it, so we are working on getting that scheduled.
We've had days that, as Mr. Bayer mentioned, a glitch would come up, and David would call the support folks with Tyler, and it may take them a half a day or a full day before you would hear from him. He could call this morning at 10 o'clock, he may hear back by 4, and it may be tomorrow at 9 o'clock. So when they're on site for training, that's downtime for us, because if we can't progress with what we need to, because Maine or wherever they are, they're not responding, which I know they have multiple clients, I do know that, but that is frustrating too, because it's not feasible for us, it's not economical.
Or when they come, don't let him leave. You get all your questions answered.
Well, I've put signs on our doors that we've implemented a new tax system, we'll wait on folks as quickly as we can, just hoping to ease that,
If we need to, we'll ask the
you know,
sheriff
them
to
being
put
so
Bobby to
upset.
go.
It's, like I said, it's live. We're live on it. We're using it, but it's a struggle right now. It really is. But we just
But
have
you
to find our
realize-
footing and get there. But you
Realistically,
know.
you expect it.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. But it's frustrating because when my ladies are leaving every day, and I think, gosh, I hope they come back tomorrow. Something has to break somewhere, because some days I'm not sure about myself. So, but thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Faye, you're next.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I'd like to thank y'all for what you did for Ms. Shelton in my office. But I also like to tell you about the computer system. I'd like to make, the system will work eventually, but right now it's impossible. It's gone back, to me, it's gone back 30 years. We're having to do pencil and paper on everything that we're doing to put it in. Right now, we're working on land use, and I have to look at the old system to get the values. I have to write that down on the paper. I have to get, the land is in different categories. You have to write that down at the $600 an acre. And then you have to get what's not in land use, the home site or property that won't qualify. You have to change that. You have to, then what we've been putting down is the amount that's going to be taken off. Now we have to start out with the total value of the property, subtract you have to do this all on calculator. To me, if it's a computer system, it ought to do the calculations for you. And now you've got to subtract it out, go back into the system, hit 4 or 5 different screens before you're able to change one land use. It's taken us, where we used to be able to work the land use, each one probably take us 15 minutes. Now it's taken us a half an hour to 45 minutes to do one land use application. Exonerations and supplements, what used to be a 1, 2, 3 thing that you could just put in the name, the VIN number, the car, the amount you're exonerating. Now you have 11 different screens that you have to go to be able to exonerate one thing. And if you exonerate one vehicle off, and if you don't remember to touch the other vehicles that are on there, it takes the license fee off of every other vehicle that you've got. So if you're working on something and somebody comes in, or you get a telephone call, you go away, you forget to do the license fee, and so the county is going to be out of money from the license fees. And it's just one thing right after another. And Mr. Grant, he and I had an argument a couple weeks ago over it. I got mad at myself because I cried. But he fussed at me because I didn't ask questions. But you don't know to ask those questions until you run into it, and run into the problems. So, we will learn. It's not that we don't want to learn, but it's impossible to learn it. So, any other?
And how much more training is scheduled for the commissioners?
And we had training last week, but Chris, he doesn't know anything about our side at all that was here from Munis. So that was just a wasted week for us.
We need to correct that problem. If they're doing training, they should be.
I think he knows Lori's side, but he has no clue on our side.
Be patient.
I've tried.
Well, I'll continue working with David and Bruce and get the additional training because until it's functioning, that they're comfortable with it, it's not giving us the value that we need. And I did talk to David on exoneration issues, and a lot of that is coming from the carryover data. The going forward numbers won't create that problem.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
It's the data transfer of where we had to move things from the old system in. So there are some things grouped together that will help if they go through, but it still creates a problem for her, and it's too easy to make a mistake and exonerate more than what you're wanting to do in that process.
David has worked hard. I have to say that. David has really worked hard with us. And it seems to me like David's writing a lot of the program when the program should be there already. I mean, it's just...
It should be.
Any other questions?
Anybody got any more questions for Bud?
Thank you.
Bud. Okay, moving on, we have the Water Committee.
The Water Committee met on April 18, 2017, and makes the following recommendations. The first one is the committee recommends approval of Barron Springs Division 2C change order number 3.
Okay, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second. Open the floor for any discussions or questions. Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Helton?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Next item.
The committee recommends increasing the current enterprise zone rates by 5%.
Okay, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions? Discussion? Hearing none, of the roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Mr. Chairman, before you call for a vote, I would request that we make this effective July, with our July billing of the rates. That gives us time to get the request been effective with the July billing.
Okay, I entertain a motion to accept the amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any more discussion or questions?
Hey, we got time for a little explanation of what it really will do for us? Financially, Stephen, what will it do for the Water Committee?
This is on the wastewater side only. And in the enterprise zone rates, which are in Progress Park, there are, the agreement is there are discounted rates in there, and the rates are to be adjusted to the consumer price index. The last time this was done was in 2012. They have not been adjusted since then. The consumer price index calls for an increase, if you add it all up, of 6.6%. The committee recommends 5% to go ahead and bring us in line. And it is better to go ahead and try to do this every few years instead of coming and hitting the industries with a 10% increase or a 15% increase at that point.
So it's not an increase for commercial rates, it's those, just the discounted rates?
Just the discounted rate within the enterprise zone.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any more questions, discussion? Hearing none, do a roll call vote. Dr. House?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Next item.
The committee recommends accepting Peden Board's proposal to provide AD design services for the Raper Ridge water tank project.
Okay, again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horning?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Next item.
And the last that I have on my list is the committee authorizes Don and Evelyn Scott of 2047 Fort Chiswell Road to sign up at the original connection fee rate.
Okay, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, the Scots contacted me on that. I expect they talked to you since it's in your district. What did that really mean for the Scots? Are they gonna have to pay the $1,000 plus or the original rate? What are they gonna pay?
Instead of paying $1,000, they would be paying the discounted rate, which was in place at that time for that project, which was $500.
Okay, have you talked to them about it?
I'm sorry, $350.
Okay.
Yes, the water department up front has been in discussions with them about it. They pulled the file, they showed me the spreadsheet. I wanted evidence that they were not notified. There was a GIS error on the property. They were notifying another individual that was not the owner of the property. So in order to provide these citizens with the rate that they should have been offered at the very beginning, the Water Committee's recommendation was to provide them this discounted rate.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also talked with those people, and she said they wasn't trying to get out of not paying, but she didn't think they should be charged without being notified. And they haven't received nothing.
I agree, I think it should be offered.
That was the situation, we notified a renter or something.
Yes, there was a renter, but that renter actually lived in the house next door, and this property showed up in the name of another landowner that was not the landowner of the property, and they have owned this property since 2002 or 2003. They should have been notified. Nowhere in our records are their names or information due to incorrect mapping data. So I was comfortable that they were never notified. That's what they indicated. They were not notified, and they were not trying to, as Coy said, to get out of any responsibility, just be given the same opportunity as the other landowners along that route was given.
Well, I'd like to comment that I appreciate y'all being flexible enough to work with these people and not be so rigid on rules.
Okay. Any more questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Houseman?
Aye.
All right.
The chair votes aye. Next, the Budget Committee, Mr. Willis.
Mr. Chairman, the Budget Committee met yesterday and made the following 4 recommendations. The first, to approve setting up a CD in the amount of $359,695 to be used as surety for the DHCD Community Development Block Grant.
Okay, again, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horning?
All right.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Next item, and these are at your table on, they're not in your board package. Next item.
The next item, Mr. Chairman, is to amend and appropriate $222 for the cost associated with the airport settlement.
Again, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
No.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes 6 with 1 nay. Next item.
Third item is to accept the Burn Justice Assistance Grant and to amend and appropriate $1,618.
Okay, again, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions, comments, or discussion?
But our matching fund's only $162, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Next item.
Last item is to transfer $2,317 to account 3102-443040 for the live scan expense and to amend and appropriate the same dollar amount.
Okay, again, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions, comment, or discussion?
That transfer is from the jail processing inmate booking fees.
Okay, any more questions, discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Next on the agenda is the county administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item, a couple months ago, you all approved the payment amount for executing the third-year agreement with the final year extension with Robbins, Farmers and Cox for doing our audit this upcoming year. Attached is the audit engagement letter that they requested be shared with you. I would recommend that you all go ahead and authorize this to be signed.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Yeah, I make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any discussion? Questions?
I have a question. Stephen, how much does it go to the next level and have an in-depth audit? I know we're complying with the state law, right?
Correct.
But if you read that audit statement, the first page says, this is as good as the information we were given. So the next step is to do a real audit. Could you find out what one costs?
Yes, I think I understand your question, but
Well, anybody that's in business knows about an in-depth audit. You don't take your corporate books and run them through a mill and get an approved audit. But an in-depth audit accounts for everything.
well, they do a very thorough audit, and they pull random items to check to make certain all internal controls and procedures are being followed. They pull random invoices, random bills. They do a very thorough audit. Ms. Gwen, when they're working in her office, do a very thorough item of it, of what they're doing. So I realize they have the disclaimer at the front of all their audits that indicates that they base it upon the data that they receive.
And I'll say that, for Mount Rogers CSB, they put that same statement in there. It's kind of, I think, to cover them more than anything else, to say, they've done the best they could with the information they were given.
I agree with that.
Any more questions? Discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Next item.
Next item, information, unless you all want to act. District 3 is selling 11 of their surplus buses and 1 van. We currently have a trash bus. I don't know that we need to be bidding on any additional vans or buses at this point in time. We're just sharing the information with you.
Okay. I will ask if any board member, has anything that, why the county should purchase one of these vehicles. I know they're giving that to us at a real discount price for what to get to them on GovDoves or the other public auctions. But, you know, I thought, and I don't know why we would need another vehicle. Okay.
Next two items are the community college board received a letter. Dr. Barton's term is expiring. He is eligible for a and also Mr. Phil Snap's term is expiring. I have spoken to both individuals. They are willing to serve again if the board so desires.
Okay, we can, I'll entertain a motion.
If that's the case, then I would recommend that we reappoint Dr. Barton and Mr. Snap to the WCC board.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The next item, as you remember, Ms. Lang and Mr. Busick spoke of the shipping containers that were acquired from, with the sheriff's office through the federal government to the military. This is just a letter from Major Klein indicating that they have received these containers and that one of them will be used at Hamilton's Knob for radio communication building, the modifications that will be made to it. And it cannot be used anything different for a year without direct permission from the Department of Defense.
Okay, next item.
And the last item is just letting you know that the been invited by the Sheriff Dunnigan for the Northeast Tennessee stop for the veterans. That'll happen on April 28th, 2017 at 9:30 a.m. Be in the recreation center across the street.
And that's Friday morning. I hope everybody can attend. Is that all you have, Mr. Barry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that is all that I have.
County Attorney's report.
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay, thank you, Scott. We move on into Board of Supervisors, District 1, Blackfoot District, Dr. Howard. Okay, District 2, West Whipple.
Nothing at this time.
District 3, East Whipple.
Nothing at this time, Mr. Chairman.
District 4, Fort Chiswell.
Not anything.
District 5, Lead Mines.
Have we done anything about the sheep yet?
About the sheep,
Yeah.
I have spoken with the individual, after speaking with the court about it, and he spoke with me last week and indicated that he needed to show that he had exhausted his efforts to receive a judgment or, to place a garnishment or whatever against the individuals.
Then he hasn't done it.
And he has not done that.
Thank you.
Okay, District 6, people.
I don't have anything that hadn't already been brought up.
Okay. And at large, I don't have anything at this time. New business, we have the consent calendar. Entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar for the.
I have a second.
Okay.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
The chair votes aye. We have next on is we have a VDOT matters. What is VDOT?
They are scheduled to be here at 10:30.
Okay, we move on to the CDBG.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have got 3 items here. We are working on getting all of our paperwork and documentation in line. The recommendation of the CD earlier, a surety is part of that process. We have received the grant from DHCD, the Community Development Block Grant Program for the Lot 20 sewer. It does require several things for the county, and we request that you all adopt this non-discrimination policy. Also attached is the fair housing certification, and then the residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan, which this project is running a sewer line in an existing right-of-way along the road and on adjoining property. Does not have any impact to any residential structures.
Okay.
But we still have to adopt all three of these items.
Do we have to do them individually? Can we
I would do them
all
individually.
Individual, okay. I'll entertain a motion on number one.
Mr. Chairman, I vote that we, or move that we adopt the Wythe County non-discrimination policy.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep.
The chair votes aye. Now the fair housing, I entertain a motion to approve,
So moved.
to adopt. Have the second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
Yep.
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Number
On-
three,
While you're on that one, Ms. Collins did hand out a piece of paper that does show, it indicates that we will do at least one action. She handed out a piece of paper. We're working with staff, but if any of you all would like to attend one of these items, feel free to let us know, and that'll take care of our requirement. Otherwise, we'll have staff attending some of these items to take care of that requirement.
okay. Okay, we have one more, residential, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
No,
I'll make a motion.
okay, do I have a second?
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
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 Yep.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, next item on the agenda, and we have 45 minutes before VDOT is here. We have a closed meeting. I entertain a motion to go into closed session under 22.2-3711A7, consulting with legal counsel.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, any second, any discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in closed session. Yeah. Have a second.
Hey.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now out of closed session. Mr. Wilson, will you read the certification?
Yes, sir, I will. Whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors that such a meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, and considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors.
I have a motion to adopt the certification.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, do a roll call vote to certify. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
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 Yep.
Aye. The chair votes aye. Okay, we'll move back up to our agenda with VDOT matters. Mr. Russell, good morning. Thank you for coming.
Morning.
The first thing I wanted to discuss was a proposal that VDOT had made to the Board of Supervisors, I think at the last meeting, concerning Route 619 and abandoning some sections and bringing other sections into the system. And Mr. Byer indicated that y'all might have a few questions about that, so I wanted to read the letter coming from a person in our land use division that made the request for the resolution, and he indicates the Code of Virginia stipulates that a local governing authority is a legal entity responsible for creating new secondary routes or abandoning old secondary routes. A Board of Supervisors resolution is required anytime VDOT does a construction project that changes alignment of a secondary road. The proposed resolution abandons the old alignment in lieu of the new alignment that replaces it. In this case, there is a section of Route 619 that as a result of the recent project was relocated, and the connecting Route 684, Old Bank Road, was also realigned. So this map kind of shows the blue sections are the proposed abandonments. That was the old sections of the road. The new sections, new alignments are in red. There's also some corrections to mileages indicated in green. So we're just making the proposal that the VDOT records, the mileages, be adjusted to reflect the current project, and that's what this resolution is all about. So y'all have any questions pertaining to this?
Anybody have any questions?
I don't see any problem with it, but let me ask something. Just out of curiosity, you said that a resolution is required by the, by VDOT from the local governing body. What if the local, I mean, I don't think we are, but what if the local governing body says, what happens? I mean,
I don't want to.
I mean, that's just an aside. I'm just, I'm just curious, because the way they worded it makes it sound like we've got the power, and I don't think.
That's just the way it's always worked. And
I understand, Jeff. I do understand that. It's just makes you a little curious.
yeah, and normally VDOT will not abandon the road, and this is more of an adjustment than a routine abandonment or. And VDOT normally will not abandon the road without a board's approval. However, to make the corrections, they are doing an abandonment and then an addition, and that's just the legal means of doing it. So in answer to your question, if y'all refused it, I don't know if they'd go ahead and do it or not. So.
Well, I don't think it would be, but I'm just,
I think it would be like, if you remember down here on the service road, there was a question about an old right-of-way in the area marked for Honda, the old southwestern turnpike. And we've gone through a lot of research on everything yet, trying to find out if the boards ever took action, if VDOT ever took action to abandon any event. And I'd say basically, if we did, it would just mean probably in 100 years when somebody's trying to figure out where the right-of-way is, they'd be going back and trying to find the documentation as to whether that part of the road was actually abandoned. This actually came up with Grove Tree Lake Road back in the early 2000s, the road that ran through the middle of the lake. Was a question brought up about it or on the subdivision, and it was brought up that that section of road was never abandoned by the county or requested for VDOT to be abandoned by the county, and technically was still a VDOT road out through there.
Jeff, I've got two questions. Is 619 a prescriptive easement?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
And I definitely don't think the project we just got through doing is prescriptive easement. I would.
All right, but these abandoned areas, if they are, would they revert to the adjacent landowner?
If the right-of-way boundaries changed, potentially. But I don't know that I don't know that the alignment changed the right-of-ways.
Well, these are a whole lot like architectural plans. There's no scale on them. So in that curve, where you took the curve out, roughly, how wide is it?
Joe, standing right here, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know whether it's 300 feet or 30 feet.
I don't think we have 300 feet. So.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is if there's acreage there, that the folks, if it's a prescriptive easement, they're already paying taxes on it. If y'all got a deeded right-of-way there for relocating that road, then wouldn't it seem sensible that whoever is adjacent to that blue line, it would go back to adjacent landowner?
Joe, I don't have the exact answer, but I don't think the alignment changed enough to where the right-of-ways are going to be any different from the old alignment in the new. We still maintained the old right-of-way, and if anything, we bought more for the new footprint of the roads.
So abandonment don't mean that there's pavement left there and a road to nowhere?
There's not any old pavement.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions on this resolution? I entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2017-03.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Myself.
Aye.
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 Aye. The chair votes aye.
I like yours, they're not words,
I'm a simple person.
Jeff, while they're handing that out, I guess, update on the clerk and stuff. Most roads back in pretty good shape right now, or open. They're open. There's still some work on it.
We got some minor repairs and stuff. I don't think we had any major
One
things.
copy.
While we're waiting, y'all been back at the feedlot this week? Checked on anything up there?
I haven't since this rainstorm, no.
I mean, since last meeting, I mean, I know it's a question.
We've had discussion about it. I haven't been there personally, but. The map that I just did send out, this is a second part of that request that came from our land use division. And again, I will read, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It says the section of Route 684 from Route 21 that crosses 619 and then goes to a dead end, we're proposing it be renumbered to Route 816 instead of 684. In 1957, an abandonment created a gap in Route 684 in which the section of 684 from 21 to the dead end, just north of Route 619, was separated from the rest of 684 by 9/10 of a mile. This causes confusion for motorists. The renumbering of Old Bank Road will eliminate that confusion and is addressed as part of the resolution for the Route 619 project because it is the connection route that was realigned. So, Stephen, was that part of the other resolution?
It was an attachment that was included
Okay.
as part of the resolution, and it does show the renumbers on there.
All right, so, and I guess my apologies, I should have went over this first, but at any rate, the reason we did that, and you can see by the map that at one time that entire blue route was 684 and it was all connected. But in 1957, I suppose as a part of Route 21, we created a gap with an abandonment. So now you've got two different Route 684s. Not a good scenario and something we try to avoid. So trying to straighten out the system, it's something we caught. We're just recommending renumbering to Route 618. So.
And the second to last paragraph says, be it further resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors requests the sections F and G and H and I accordingly renumbered as part of the secondary system of highways. And then the second page of that says the following VDOT form is hereby attached and incorporated as part of the resolution, and that has the number changes in it.
current document that I'm passing out is this year's allocations and proposed 6-year budget. The overall total through the 6-year is $3,399,737. That is down $39,000 from last year, but that's not bad considering what we're looking at. That being said, every project that was on the 6-year plan last year is still fully funded, and with the additional money, we need to add $1,034,000 worth of new projects. So we're looking we need to work together to come up with 5, probably if we're still going to add rural rustic projects, you're probably looking more or less 5 miles of projects to add to this 6-year plan. Now, the public hearing is scheduled for May 9th, and my recommendation would be for you all to consider projects you would like to have added, submit them to us as quick as you can. We will go out and review the projects, try to come up with an estimate, and put together the 6-year plan for presentation at the public hearing.
And you're saying that's about 5 miles of rural rustic?
Unpaved roads that we can hard surface. And that's a very favorable number from other plans I've seen. Go.
What about Major Grand Road, or whatever, did it end up being, to be funded as high capacity?
High volume.
High volume?
We applied for it. Stephen put in an application. Haven't heard yet whether or not it will be funded. Now, the section, at the time, the maximum you can apply for is $300,000 per year. And we applied for the $300,000, which should get us from Rose Road, that's where the hardtop stops now, out to, what's the next intersection, David? It was 3/4 of a mile towards Major Graham Mansion. So it got us pretty well to Carter's Ferry.
And that part's already funded.
It is in the 6-year plan.
Yeah.
But we turned around and applied for high-volume unpaved road funding
And then you were gonna put that money back.
back in
right?
the 6-year
So
plan.
that means another $300,000 possibly.
If it gets accepted.
Another
I feel pretty confident it will be. In all actuality, the guy that oversees the program called me probably a week ago, said that they had unallocated funds still left over and wanted to know if we wanted to go further than the $300,000. So,
Yes.
I told him, yeah, we'll take whatever they can give. So now, don't take that to the bank, but that's the last conversation, so.
But any savings there, that month, those savings will be.
That goes back into your 6-year allocations that you can add additional projects.
Okay.
Well, you got down on the page there, you've got a $544,000 for all of Grimm Road, Major Grimm Road. And then you take less than the 82,000, less than that. Will that put it all the way through to Red Hollow?
The two projects that's on the 6-year plan now, completes Hardtop and Major Grams Road all the way through. So any funding we can get from the High Volume Roads program will release the same amount off of this 6-year program that you can put towards new projects. So, I mean, if y'all have any more questions, I'll be glad to answer, but basically,
So Major Graham is about $1 million?
$544,080, so $620,000.
Oh, Okay, well, I'm sorry, I was looking at this.
It's on page 3, the next to the top one, next to the bottom.
Okay, well, what major grant it shows out in 2019, 2020, 536.
Right, that, if you look to the left, it says, total is 544,000. That means total project cost. And as you move across, the first column is 2018, 2019 for $7,588. That's
Oh, okay.
That's the first money that is put towards it, and then it's,
Okay, I understand.
that's the years it's funded, so.
Okay. I
But-
understand.
That's under the 6-year plan, isn't it?
Yes.
That's not under the
This is 6
high volume.
Now, one thing I did do when we applied for the major grant funding, I did change it from surface treatment, this is proposed surface treatment, to plant mix,
You mean on that hill part or the whole
the whole
thing?
thing. And that's just due to the type of traffic of trucks.
It'll save y'all a lot of money in the long run on maintenance.
If we're getting free money from a program, then let's get the best we can get with plant mix.
Well, when you, Dick, when you say send roads in, do you send them to Stephen and then Stephen?
I would go through Stephen and just send him your request, anything, any potential projects you've got a question about, and Stephen can relay them to us. We'll go out and review them and get an estimate and see if they're rural rustic eligible projects, so.
Stephen, you want to have the board going to have a work session prior to, just discuss roads, but, something one evening.
Here in a little while,
I have a meeting in
Oh.
Bedford that I
Oh, okay.
go to.
Sorry.
Appointment in Bedford, it's not a meeting, but
Well, can we, or if we can send all the requests in to, Stephen, and then we'll know.
well, if we get more requests than, the money allotted, we'll have to decide.
That's what I'm saying, send them in to him first, and then I think that, you might want to put a, set a work session. However you want to do it.
But it's however the board wants to do it. I won't be able to do it this afternoon.
I'd like to ask Stephen a question. That little piece of road, roughly 1 block over there in that Jewel Addition that comes from the water tank down, that's not in anything. Have you determined who that belongs to?
It is a 50-foot public right-of-way from previous subdivision, let's say now.
But it's not in the state system
Not in the
now.
state system, no.
Okay. That's another hurdle then, isn't it?
But we were supposed to maintain it from the road up to the first station pump.
Originally, from the road up to, from 94 up to the first road turning to the right was actually designed and constructed to VDOT standards. And the previous owners or the owners were supposed to have done a few items on the top side of their subdivision in order to get it turned over and taken over by the state. And that did not happen or occur in that process. Looking back 20 years on it or whatever, it probably would have made sense. Or the best thing is after we built our pump station out there or well house out there, we've been to request from VDOT to go ahead and take the road over and see if they would have at that time for the well.
What type of repairs are we looking at now to get it put into the state system?
I don't know if y'all have looked at it closely or not, or Jeff.
Which road is it?
Orion Lane
No, I don't know that I've looked at it.
off Jewel subdivision.
It goes up to the water tank and to the wells.
It's going to need partial resurfacing. Nothing's been done resurfacing in 20 years. It's going to need resurfacing, but it,
Yeah, it's right before you get to the short curve there on 94.
Y'all maintain everything up there except the connector road that brings it back to 94.
The state maintain all the way around the loop to the end before it comes back down the hill.
That's something we can look at, is it, is there 3 residences on it?
Too.
Depends on
How
how,
you look at it.
yeah.
We can take a look at it.
2 or
and-
3.
I don't think any of them actually face it. But there's the side yards for everybody else, but the whole community, it gives a loop for the school bus and it gives them a way out that's downhill for them to 94. I have had several calls on it, and I'm not sure which district's in, but right now it's in yours.
Well, I've had calls on it too, and the school bus is using that loop. I mean, they're going around that way.
I have something there. I had a citizen call me yesterday evening, and they live on Walton Furnace Road where it went, turns to dirt. They live in the first house closest to the road. He says that Bottomley has bought all that land down in there, already owns a big part of it. And he says the dust gets so bad, he can't put furniture on the porch, can't wash the car every day. And he was wondering if you might could pave just in front of his house for him, cheap. But he said anyway to keep the dust down. He's on the gravel. He's on the gravel part of Walton Furnace Road. You go down there and there's a cattle guard. And he's the first house on the right, Michael Collins.
That'd be something that we'd probably need to go through the 6-year plan, I mean, the regular process. I mean, we're not by law supposed to spend my maintenance dollars to go pay doing an improvement. We don't do improvements, we do maintenance, so.
Well, he'd be satisfied to do anything, to keep the dust down. And he realizes how much traffic he is. He already knows how much he is. And I've been down there when they come up through that from trailers loaded with pumpkin. You can't see.
Yeah, there's sorting houses on that road there.
Yeah, he got a, well, what's got a big barn or a big building on down there.
Yeah.
It's packing house, I guess. He's been told that he has bought out Thomas Stone and the rest of the land on the right-hand side.
Do you have any updated knowledge on the bridge jobs? Is Millers Creek Bridge out to bid, or is it still on hold?
It's about the same status as it has been. I mean, it's moving forward, but I don't have the exact dates.
And
It's still on schedule to be done.
does that pipe job, does it fall under maintenance or new construction?
Those pipes have a structured number, therefore they're responsibility of the bridge division, and their replacement is part of a contract that the bridge division put out, so.
If they're having any problem with right-of-way access, let me know.
I haven't heard anything since the bridge engineer was here at the previous meeting.
Two of those characters be hard to find.
Corey, I guess, are you saying you want to add Walton Furnace in at least past those houses is something to be considered to add to the 6-year plan?
It really just concerns one family there. I'm sure it's bad enough.
Well, that's sort of what we did on New Bethel. New Bethel did a little section of it where the houses were to try to extend
I mean, that's what we're going to do.
right.
It's on either end.
We added it to the 6-year plan is what we did.
Right, because you're not going to go over that low water, you're not going to replace that low water bridge, so.
We got both ends of that route to get through the residences.
Right.
Stephen, how about letting him look at both? Do it to that house and do it to the packing house. Because that's a real part of commercial farm development. And I still believe in farm to market roads are are important. Any of that we can get out of his inventory is gonna help his maintenance in the long run. And his dust calls are, most of them are on speed dial, aren't they?
Yeah, we get a few.
Well, you know, I'll go with Gary's suggestion, everybody turn in their, you know, roads that they would like to see done in rural Rusty, paved, and, you know, we'll look at the mileage on them, and if it's over 5 miles, we'll just have to make a decision on which ones we want to add.
I pulled my list of, from a public hearing last year, the people that came and spoke, probably 9 out of the 10 roads that people asked for is on the plan, so we're doing pretty good at listening to them, so we do what we can.
I've just had one request, and it's not really far. I mean, it's maybe 200 feet. That's, to take care of the problem. The dust and stuff.
Can I ask something else that doesn't have anything to do with the 6-year plan? I had some people call me, I don't know what your all's policies are about speed limit signs. I'm not talking about changing the speed limit, but, you know, where I live, well, you know where Williams Apple Orchard is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know, when you're coming toward Wythe, when you top the hill right there, it's just like long, straight stretch, it looks like a raceway. Then, of course, up the road, what we've always called Green Gables, that big, long, straight stretch going toward Rural Retreat. Had some people ask if there's a possibility of posting some 55-mile-an-hour, you know, speed limit signs that, you know, they're not asking for a speed limit to be changed, and they said that they know that it may very well not affect people, but, yeah, it might, because we do get a lot of fast-moving vehicles, you know, on those, because those are 2 pretty long straight stretches.
We can look at, I can make a recommendation to traffic and engineering and
I mean, on one, like if there's one at the top of the hill there at that orchard and, you know, coming east and then one west right there about New Bethel Road, and then, you know, a couple, you know, on the other. I don't know. I told them I would pass that along.
we can make a recommendation, but honestly, is it gonna help? Speed limit on any of these roads, the maximum's 55, and you put up, you know, it's not always a cure-all is what I'm saying. People ought to, it's about like we was talking last week about the littering signs. People know not to litter, people know not to speed, but we can make a recommendation.
Well, I told them I would pass it along, and so it's passed along.
All right. We'll ask them about it, but at the same time, that's a maintenance issue for us in the future, as well as the initial cost of getting them installed. And
Yeah, you might could get a historic sign. That was historically where you took a new car to try it out.
Not by my house, but Green Gables, yeah, I have exceeded 55 miles an hour. Had a 66 Ford Galaxy one time, 39
any sign that we put up is only as good as the willingness of the driver to adhere to it.
It's like a
so.
rock will keep out an honest person.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything else for Mr. Russell, any questions? Road concerns? What?
Gentlemen, I had brought you a sample of the sludge in that retention
Well, I
pond.
asked him at Mr. Marge a while ago if he'd been up there, and he hasn't.
Jeff,
We,
you'll take a look at the 619, the rerouting, the St. Peter's Road down through there. The stormwater management pond at the bottom, on the Speedwell side, with the liquid that it is holding down there, is obviously odorous and, not very attractive. And I know it's a balance between stormwater management pond and what needs to come out of there. If you all could take a look at that.
We did, I did contact our drainage specialist at the district pertaining to the runoff that we're getting in those sediment basins. And basically, we're a property owner the same as every property owner around us right there. We are not a enforcement authority. We're a recipient. And just as you're aware, we've contacted the Department of Agriculture, the DEQ. They're the enforcement authority, and basically, that's all we can do.
Well, we're concerned that it is turning into a public health hazard. Right now, the water is running out of there, but basically, it doesn't run out of there. And I brought the board a sample of the sludge that is in there. With the temperatures rising and so on, it's within, what, 100 feet of residential houses and so on and so forth.
Right.
And the mosquitoes and other critters that are going to be coming out of there is going to be very interesting. And the residents are concerned.
Well, and that's by design, that's what a sediment basin does. It retains water to keep it from flooding downstream. I mean, if we receive an enormous amount of water, it retains in that sediment basin. The siltation filtrates to the bottom, and then the water runs out. It's supposed to be a sediment trap.
Understandable, but the sediment that we were trapping is almost 99% effluent from the feedlot.
And
So
I'm not
that's-
discounting that, and that's a concern we have too. That's why we have, just like you and the other citizens have contacted DEQ, Department of Agriculture. They're the regulating authority that has the say-so and can do something about the runoff from the feedlot.
Well, as of today, the 25th, could you possibly reiterate that information to DEQ?
Yeah, we can push it up the line.
And
but,
push it up the line a
You
little
know,
bit.
I've been copied on the same emails you have, and we both
Okay.
know the conversation.
Okay.
They're working with him, and, you know, I have no control over those agencies either, so.
Okay, but we'd appreciate you pushing.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Jeff, on that same thing, at one time there was some pipes that he ran off the hill,
Right.
and it was said that he wasn't allowed to do that, and he was gonna have to take them up. But it's like, I know at one time I went through and they were gone, and it was like they did an inspection, and then the next day they were back. And they're still there now, but the grass has just grown up so much that you can't hardly see it.
The purpose of those is to keep, I mean, water's gonna run off that hill.
And I understand why they put them in originally.
And they put them in originally, and they're there now to, if they're still there, I'm not sure if they're there now or not.
still there.
They put them back. But that's to convey the water runoff from the top of the slope to the bottom
Right.
until
you got grass.
good vegetation.
But I think there's enough grass there now.
You know, and Gene, ultimately, if you pull those pipes, water's then gonna start coming over the slope, so it's not like that has anything to do with the sedimentation, or pulling them is not gonna prevent any sedimentation.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, you've got a long ways from the top to the bottom, and if it has to go through grass to get to the bottom, some of that manure may get caught in that grass.
It could.
comes down, instead of just coming through the pipe, because if it comes through the pipe, you know that it's going all the way to the bottom.
And, you know, I'll convey that,
I
as well, but, you know, I'm not,
I understand, I mean, you're just like us, I mean, Linda fusses at us and we can't fix it, we complain to the people that can fix it and they don't fix it, I mean,
yeah, that's
I understand.
kinda limited, so I'm a recipient too, so.
Does anybody have any more questions for Mr. Russell? If not, thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Let me say one thing before you turn him loose.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll be getting lots of calls after this rain. I know Shady River Drive done gone. It's the same place every time. Where those, things are in the drain pipes in the road. And they've been washed out, because I seen them laying on the side of the thing. I hope it don't go in the river, go down the river.
And the road name is what?
Shady River Drive.
Shady River Drive.
Yeah, that's one that goes in under the trestle on both ends.
Right.
Jeff, have y'all been able to get in Connors Valley? How bad?
It was closed. Now, I haven't heard this morning how bad the damages are. So have you, David, have you heard anything about it?
I heard Collins Cove had an issue, but I don't know if it was on their private right of way side or if it was on public right of way side or if it was on.
How far up in there is VDOT go?
On Collins Cove?
Yeah.
They go to the gate.
To the gate, then it was on the other side.
Their side, yeah. I heard about that.
It was right there where you first start up in there.
Yeah, it uncovered some pipe through there.
I've seen pictures of it, and just by looking at the pictures, I could recognize where it was, so.
Have anything else?
I want to ask him something private, personal, but, I mean, can we take a recess so I can do that? It's just for my information.
Anybody else have anything to ask Mr. Russell? If not, thank you, Jeff. And we'll be in recess 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes, Gene.
All right.
Okay, Stephen.
Gentlemen, we've been going through budget discussions for the last month or so, and what I've got before you, I'll read this. The proposed 2018 Wythe County budget has a total expenditures estimated at $86,700,004. This represents a 9.1% increase over the 2017 budget. This is attributable to a $10,700,000 proposed for school renovation. If this amount is removed from the budget, the total budget represents a 4.3% decrease from the 2017 budget. The 2018 revenue budget as proposed requires the use of $933,093 of funds from general and reserve funds to balance the budget. As a result of school construction and debt service, the budget is proposed with an increase of 3 cents in real estate taxes, increasing from 49 cents to 52 cents, 6.1%, and an increase in 10 cents in personal property, increasing from 227 to 237, a 4.4% increase. I do not take proposing a tax increase lightly. However, in order to proceed with the school capital improvement program, the recommendation of a tax increase is necessary. Please note this recommendation is for advertisement purposes only. The public hearing on the budget is scheduled for May 23rd, 2017. We may decrease tax rates in the final budget approval, but cannot increase to a rate higher than what is advertised. If the Board of Supervisors and School Board are unable to reach consensus on school capital improvement program for fiscal year 18, and the proposed $10,700,000 is removed from the budget, then with a few adjustments, the FY18 budget can be managed at current tax rates. I will be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, floor is open for discussion.
Okay, let me ask about the schools. Stephen, I'm just now trying to pull up your email that you sent. We talked about, giving money for, for renovation. We also, I had asked you, and you found out that the footprint of George Wythe was about the equivalent of
Little
high
less
school
than equivalent high school.
and middle school. And what was, I'm trying to get it here, what was the, oh, here it is, okay. And the renovation cost on both of those?
It was $14 million.
14 million.
Around 14 million.
Okay.
You say it's the same size of the middle school and high school?
No, the George Wythe High School is, I can't remember the exact, I've got them and was talking with the school boards about them. The size of George Wythe High School is close to the size of the Drill Retreat High School and middle school combined square footage.
I guess my point is this, if they'll use it for for renovating towards Wythe, if we have to go up in number, I'm okay with that. If that's, what it's used for. And I'll say one other thing, and then as far as the real estate taxes, if it goes up 3 cents, I understand that. I'm not in favor of the 10 cent on the personal property, because the last time we raised it, it was a really big bump. Personal property penny is what, about 80,000?
Personal property at Penny is about 25,000.
Yeah.
Oh, 25.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Stephen, if we move forward with this, can we do a progressive tax, a penny a year for the next 3 years on real estate, instead of doing it all at one time?
You're going to be short in your second year out on that.
So if we move forward with this in the time frame we've got, and we take A&E fees, just out of the general fund as a one-time expenditure. And then we're looking at debt service payments starting when?
Well,
How long it's gonna take to get a plan together and even start the construction and get the money? I mean, what realistic are we
Yeah,
looking at?
there's a couple things we could do on that. We could do the debt service for a couple years of like interest-only payments, and then backload the next 18 years of the higher payments to make it so we're not paying the full amount up front. There's also, yes, the drawdown schedule on it that you would not be paying on until you've drawn that down in the process. And obviously, it would take a couple years to complete this construction project. So there are some avenues there that we could take to stagger it out.
Without doing a tax increase now.
Yeah, but you're gonna face an increase of interest rates that's just gonna hit you square in the face if we try that one.
Well, still, we can borrow the money. I'm talking about full debt service down the road. It's not, that can be drawn out.
So the increase, Stephen, that you're suggesting will bring in approximately $1 million.
It'll bring in about 900,000.
What's the debt service on $10 million?
$10 million, what's
Right
up
now,
there?
I mean.
Yeah. The debt service that I've got in the budget right now is a total of about $700,000. And the reason 3 cents brings in $645,000. $215,000 there. So 3 cents wasn't enough to cover the full thing. That's why I just put the 10 cents out there for discussion purposes. That's $250,000. That is above and beyond what's needed. So we can move numbers around in that
But-
process.
The debt service on $10 million is,
700,000.
so debt service on $15 million is over $1 million.
Yes.
Real estate tax rate is gonna have to go up.
Well, the only reason I say this is because the one thing that we've always said is that we want to be fair to the town schools compared with what we did in the county schools. And I just want to, if there's a renovation project, I just want to make sure that it's comparable to what we've done, in the county schools.
Yeah, 14 million, at the same rate we're just quoted for rough purposes right now, it's $979,000 of debt service for 14 million. And, you know, I know there's still discussions to be had with the school board, before I was here now, on how we do proceed. You know, do we reach an agreement on proceeding on some type of school renovation? Is it 10 million, is it 12 million, is it 14 million, is it any number out there? Obviously, if it goes up 14, 15, 16 million, then that's more than what we're talking about here. Along the lines of Mr. Reeves said, that can be something that this year to be looked at or whatever in that process. But this leaves a little bit of that wiggle room in the advertising of the rates to come up with whether it is strictly personal property, or strictly real estate. If it's real estate and personal property, is it 3 cents and 10 cents, 3 cents and 5 cents, or is it 4 cents on real estate and 0 cents on personal property?
Well, I'll take a second back to personal property, whatever the collective wisdom y'all go along with. The last time we raised personal property, we raised it, what was it?
19 cents?
19 cents.
Yep.
When does the next any debt service come off?
For the schools?
Well,
23.
school For us,
Schools is 2023.
Which will be 5 years from this budget year we're working on.
How much comes off in 23?
It's between 23 and 24. It's $1 million. It's like 560 one year and 440 the next year. The book I did not bring with me is my debt book, and if you'll give me a second, I'll grab it.
I thought it was about 1.6 million.
No, it's 1 million. Hang on, I meant to bring that. I did not.
So we can have some productive time while Stephen's gone. What was the number for the A&E fees that you were talking about? That's separate. So,
I believe estimated around $500,000.
Yeah, they said it was somewhere between 5, 6, 7%. I don't.
that's not realistic.
Think it's more than that?
I think it's less than that. I think if we would sometimes use the wisdom of the Commonwealth and use the state scale, it's much better, much better than the federal scale. And if I was negotiating, I'd want to talk about the federal scale, but since we're on the other side of the table, let's talk about the state scale. And a lot of this work's been done. They can get true and accurate as possible as-built drawings or record drawings from the Department of Education. So a lot of that work is recoverable by the A&E firm without them doing any work. That school was designed by Smith & Boynton, so it's pretty much standard in the way they did things. And to just automatically bump up to 14,000 or 14 million because that's what you spent on Rural Treat,
And I'm not.
don't mean that we got a good deal on Rural Treat.
Okay, now let me rephrase it. I'm just saying that if we have to go up to make it comparable to what we've done in the other areas in the county, I would be in favor of that. And Joe, you're right. Throwing out the number 14 million or 15 million, that's just a number. I mean, I'm not advocating, any particular number right now. I want us to, if they, agree to the renovation of Georgia Wythe High School, that it's on a comparable basis with what we've done, especially like at Rural Tree.
Well, I've looked at the school board budget a lot, and there's no way that being responsible for the taxpayers' money that I can vote for a new gym at George Wythe. It just almost is ridiculous to say, let's build a swimming pool, junior Olympic pool inside. There's adequate facilities out there now, and I understand they have an auxiliary gym, so that takes care of your Title IX requirements, doesn't it? As an administrator, if you've got 2 gyms, you're much better off with Title IX. Is that correct?
Yeah, but Title IX, if you're limited to 1 gym, you're still okay. The Virginia High School League has put us in compliance with Title IX when they switched to, seasons.
So the conflict's not there like it used to be.
No.
So that's even more reason to take $1 million, $1.5 million out of that budget by not building a new gym.
Well, but we haven't really seen a renovation budget other than just sort of a sketch that shows like a new office complex, which, and I know, you mentioned that. I know that when schools are renovated now, one of the things that you really need to do is make it so that when people come into the building, they have to come through the office. Right now, the way that many schools are, you have to go up, you have to push a button, they look at you through the camera, and then they release the door. At Root High School, Root Elementary right now, you go in, but the doors are locked to get into the regular building. You have to divert through the office, so that it's a security issue.
On your debt service question, the Rural Retreat Elementary and Jackson Elementary School debt service comes off in 2023 is $538,000. It comes off that year. It's currently at $633, so it gradually decreases $100,000 over the next 6 years or so. The Series 2003 for Fort Chisholm and Scott bill comes off in 2024, and it's $446,000. At that point in time, it's about 900 or almost 900,000 in debt. Currently, it's close to $1 million. Currently, it's about 1.1 between them, but they decrease a little bit over the next 6 years.
So when are you going to advertise the tax rate in the public hearing?
We need to set the public hearing, y'all established by the previous budget calendar is May 25th. In order to get it advertised in the time frames, we have to decide on the tax rate today, or we need to move our dates out to do so. And I said, this is just to advertise the rate.
And we can go down.
We can go
But
down.
not up.
And we still talked to a couple of members yesterday, would like to get our committee together with the schools committee to talk again about where we're heading during building construction during this, because by the time we get into adopting the budget in June, the first night meeting in June is where our current schedule is. We need to have our decisions and where we're going forward.
Well, if it's consensus of the board, we can, advertise what you got to propose. We can always lower it or not approve it altogether. But, we can't go up.
Just so you know, if you lower the personal property tax from 10 cents, you have to raise the real estate tax. The proposal that Stevens made is 3 cents on the real estate tax and 10 cents on personal property. So if you cut the personal property tax, you've got to raise the real estate tax.
So
if you want to advertise, you might advertise 4 cents on the real estate and 10 cents on the personal property, and then at your meeting, you can say, I passed 3 cents on the real estate and 10 cents on personal property. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a
makes
total
sense.
tax, not individually.
No, but to get
You
A and B,
advertise-
you've got to
You
do,
advertise each rate.
yeah.
got to
But if you're-
advertise each
If you
rate.
pass a budget with the 3-cent tax increase on the real estate, in order to make it balanced, you have to have the 10 cents on the personal property,
Or we make other revisions.
or you make other revisions in the budget.
Right, okay, but you're not saying that if we advertise 3% or 3-cent increase on real estate and 10 cent on personal property, you're just looking at the budget numbers. I mean, if we came in and said, we're only gonna raise real estate 2 cents and we're gonna raise personal property 5 cents, we can certainly do that. We just have to deal with the deficit that creates.
Correct.
But legally, we can do that.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. I thought you were saying that it was a total tax package and we couldn't, that we
Yeah,
hadn't
you can
had.
always adjust the budget down. I'm
Right.
just saying to the proposed budget, is if you were to raise the 3 cents real estate tax and not do the personal property, then you gotta make budget adjustments because you don't have enough money.
Right, but it's not because of the legality of raising or lowering after it's advertised. Okay.
I'm just saying, if you wanna add to the real estate tax later, you may wanna advertise 4 cents.
I'm thinking about what's add to the real estate tax.
Well, let's talk about that a minute, Gary. With what we know by Stephen's charts, we pay almost $5 million more than the state requires for operating budget. And I'm glad we've been able to do that, because most of that has gone for.
Oh, you're talking about for the school?
Schools, mate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's really what we're talking about here.
Right.
We can fix our budget without an increase. I believe that's doable. But if we're talking about 3 cents or 4 cents, why not take a little bit more pain over 4 cents and have some money there for a cushion to do some things that the county needs done? We've got a water department that's upside down. We've got a communication system that we're wanting to fund and we really need for everybody's protection. We have an inadequate communication system for the county and the sheriff's department. To me, those are critical needs also. And every time we deal with increasing just enough for it to be used up in school finance or school construction. So there's got to be a stop to that. It's almost like deficit, well, it is deficit spending. We're setting a target there of so many $1 million that's going to be spent, and all these pent up over many years county needs have been healthy and constrained. And how long can that go on and have a viable balance of local government? You know, I'd love for us to have a surplus, but there's only one way to create a surplus, and that's to exaggerate your expenses and deplete your revenue. Then you can build a surplus. But realistically, we've got all these things that we would like to do, from all the people that have been in here for the last 2 months, needing all these things, and some of them desperately, and some quite a few are truly justifiable, but we don't have the money. So rather than just do just enough to take care of the school needs, which you can always say, well, there's going to be relief in 5 years. That's like saying your electric bill is going to come down.
Well, no, in 5 years, I'm assuming the money that's freed up will be used for other.
There'll be other emergencies, and most of them will probably be with education, because that's where the money goes. I think the A&E fee is too high, and you can build quality educational structures without going crazy. Renovation is a good thing because you got a solid building there. If they can come up with a plan that they can be consolidated within that footprint, there needs to be some real serious constraints that I'm not sure we can hold it to that. So just putting a pot of money out there without knowing what we're gonna get for it doesn't seem like a good decision to me. We've been around the horn in the last year and a half, 2 years, from we need to spend $5 million at Spiller, and then all these other things. I think I can't even keep up with where we've been and what need to be funded. But there needs to be, what are you gonna get for those dollars, and how long will it meet the need? The state funding is supposed to be raised this year. I hadn't seen the check yet, so
I think the school's getting somewhere around $700 and some more $1,000 this year from the state,
Anticipated.
anticipated.
So we're talking about 3 or 4 cents for the $10 million, and then come back next year with another tax increase?
If we passed, if you were to adopt what's proposed, the 3 cents and the 10 cents, that would more than cover the $10 million that's out there.
And then what if we need 4 million more than all?
Need 4 million more, would need a little more than what's proposed right here.
well, we know what a penny yields, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I mean, like your husband said, this total thing brings in about $900,000. And if we went 14 million, 15 million, you're looking at 9.7 million, 970,000 to $1,050,000 for debt service.
And again, folks, I just said it, I'm not, I mean, because that was, what the combined thing at Road Creek Middle was. I'm not advocating 14 million, I just use that as a, as a number. But if the school board decides that they don't want money for renovation, then this becomes a moot point.
1 penny in real estate brings in 200,000, right?
215,000.
What do we bring in real estate and personal property each year? On average?
Well, this year, we're budgeted $10,500,000 in real estate this current fiscal year. Personal property, I'd have to look up, I don't remember off the top of my head. Personal property, we budget $4.1 million in personal property. Plus, we also get the $1.5 million from the state on the personal property tax relief that is fixed. That amount doesn't change.
But that ain't actually what we've got. Actual numbers are different than what we budgeted. They're not up to that yet.
Correct.
And that's,
Between operation and capital improvement, debt service, we're giving over 100% of the personal property and real estate to the school.
Correct. Yeah, in the report that's in your package, as of the end of March 30th, she had collected $10,360,000 of the $10.5 million on the personal property. She collected $3,758,000 of the budgeted $4,100,000. So we're only at 91% collected on the personal property right now.
well, what y'all's preference on, what we advertise, that's about all we need to decide on right now. 4% tax increase and a 10% personal property. Is that what you want to advertise, and then see how much kickback we get about it, and then we can always lower it?
Well, we can't lower it and fund it both. That, correct?
Well, if we do a 4% tax increase, we can do away with I think we can do away with the 10 cents personal property tax increase. And I'm more in favor of extending the tax out over 2 or 3 years and doing it all at one time, but that's just my opinion.
So you're saying like we advertise 4, we might come back with 2 this year, 2 next year, you know, whatever is what you're thinking. And you can do the same with the personal property, with 5 cents, or, you know.
Well, you know, I'm gonna give you the same argument I did last time. We've got a very select group of people that get hit with the real estate tax. You're one of them. Steve's one. Charlie's one. Tim's one. I'm not one. I don't know whether Coy pays any taxes or not, but Gene don't pay a fair amount of tax either. But when you take away the people that are covered inappropriately, in my opinion, by land use taxes, that's a significant number. Now, we're going up a little bit, but it don't yield anything. Land use is a good thing, and I believe we ought to subsidize farmers. But too much of a good thing is too much. But getting back to where we are now, we can't change that. If you put some on personal property, it's a wider net. More people get to pay more, and it's, you know, it's Danny McDaniel and his wisdom said, if you got 4 cars in your parking lot, in your driveway, you got too many cars. Personal property tax touches more of the people than real estate taxes really does. Do you agree with that, Stephen?
Yes.
So a broader tax, to spread it around a little bit, should be heavier on personal property, or we need to look at, are we charging enough things under our personal property tax? Are we about the only county around that just charges on automobiles and trucks?
I do not know.
I think some of the counties charge on everything you own, like we used to do in Virginia.
Yeah, you pay it on skid steers.
Oh, you pay it on that, but
Boats.
you don't pay on farm equipment. In a good year, the people that sell equipment do well because it's a pretty good tax shelter. And it's a one-time payment. But I'm just saying we're hitting on a disproportionate amount of people that own a house and a lot. If they're covered under land use, they've got the best deal going. And I think everybody agrees with that, but I don't think anybody has a will to change it.
Yeah, but right now, some people are paying more personal property taxes than they are real estate taxes.
Yeah, under land use.
No, you take a house and a lot, and you pay taxes on that house and lot. If it's not a very expensive house and you got 2 new vehicles, you're paying more personal property tax than you are real estate tax.
Yeah, a $100,000 house with our current tax rate, it's, you know, $490.
A $50,000 vehicle.
$20,000 vehicle is $454. I'm not including the property tax write-off and stuff like that, just numbers. But yeah, for every cent of real estate tax on a $100,000 property, I just use that because it is a round number and easy to multiply off of. It's $10. For every 10 cents on, for every $10,000 vehicle, 10 cents of vehicle tax adds $10. So to go from $2.27 to $2.37, from $2.27 to $2.37 on a 10,000 vehicle obviously goes from $2.27 to $2.37, $10 increase.
Well, I see your point, but I don't see the point of it's not spread equally.
Well, it'll never be spread equally, as far as real estate.
No, I'm not talking about dollars, I'm talking about the amount of people that are allowed to pay. You take some of our very biggest landowners, don't pay a proportional tax, and the ones that run, here I go again, the plastic tags, they don't pay anything. If we had a crackdown on those, the revenue on personal property would go up. If we had a crackdown on all the taxes that are not being collected because they're not billed, our revenue would go up.
If we're gonna advertise, my thoughts are advertise what we've got here. 3 and 10 cents. And then if we need to or can't, we can come down from that, or we can set that as a goal and spread it out over a couple of years. Just me.
The 3 or 4 cents. You're talking about what he's got here, 3 cents or 4 cents.
I would say keep it at 3. I understand, Joe's point, but I don't think that, is anybody gonna want to raise it 4 cents? Realistically?
Well, we could do it over multiple years at 4 cents. You
Yeah.
can't at 3. We're funding something, we're on the top side of a slippery slope by doing this, because I think it'll be harder for you folks that want to do it if we advertise it. I understand we can fix it. Is there anybody here that believes we will fix it? Once you've advertised it and took whatever heat's going to be there, then it's going to flow right on through. We're going to go with that tax increase. We won't have any money to do any of the county projects. And we'll be right back where we've been every time. I really sit here like a dummy and thought when we raised the water rate that we were taking care of the water department. A big part of our deficit is the water department, isn't it? Another part of our deficit is building this building we don't need right now. So, Stephen, what do those two add up to roughly? About 600, 700,000.
700,000.
Yeah, so we could fix our budget. But so this tax increase is just purely putting us more in debt because of the school wants. And I'm a person that believes you ought to weigh wants and needs. I want a new pickup every year, but I don't need one.
I would disagree with the wants and the needs for the renovation. I think that we do need to renovate, the schools. So I don't think that that's really a want. I do think.
But we don't know we're there, Gary.
Well, I don't know what the school board,
But this board is there.
Yeah.
There's been no resolution from the school board that I know of that they're willing to renovate.
Steve? I've been quiet too long. My problem with the schools is, I came out of business, guys. If somebody gives me $10 million and I turn around and say I can't do it, and I need 18 or whatever the number is, they're gonna find somebody else to do it. I looked at the proposed budget that came back. We're supposed to be fixing the infrastructure. We're fixing acoustic ceiling tiles. And I'm not gonna vote for a tax increase if this is how we're gonna spend it.
Charlie?
I don't agree with the tax increase. I think we're spending money in places that doesn't need to be spent.
Joe, you got anything else to add?
Well, for all of you that looked at that breakdown by the architectural firms, they weren't independent in any way. They were already architects that have their hand in the pot. So that was no more than a standard form. In fact, it had some wrong names on it that showed that. Did you notice that, Steve? It wasn't even well done, so I hope they didn't get paid very much for that. But they're so general that you can't really pinpoint what they're going to do. That should have been much more comprehensive. And with the studies that have been done over the years, a reasonable number could have been arrived by those architects in the time they had. They probably spent a couple hours on that.
Well, the key thing to look at is we got a copy of the quote. The one key thing that I think we should love to see is the request for quote. What was asked for? I mean, your architects didn't go in there and come up with those numbers unless they were guided by something, a piece of paper, a conversation, or whatever. I'm all for fixing the schools, but look at what was asked for. Do we need new locker rooms? Almost $1 million on an auditorium? I'd love to see the RFQ. What was asked for?
Yep.
Well, I'd like to see the school fixed. I'd also like to see a real number of how much we're gonna pay. I believe we've asked the people here in Whitfield to pay taxes on my school, both my schools fixed. And I see no reason why the county, the rest of the county shouldn't have to pay a little bit to help get those schools fixed. Yeah, I'd like to see them fixed.
Gene?
But I don't like to take the tax increase either.
I'm like Corey, I mean, I'd like to see them fixed. One thing that I do have a problem with that I don't know, maybe it's just me, I don't understand it. We keep comparing George Wythe's footprint to Rural Retreat Middle and High School. But comparison-wise, how many students are at George Wythe compared to Rural Retreat? I mean, do they need as much space if they're renovating? They want to add back to it.
And maybe I need to back off that, because I wasn't advocating that. I was
I
just
understand.
saying that.
I mean,
well,
That was just a
maybe-
general square footage.
Yeah,
Right,
square
that's-
footage,
that's-
and maybe it does take, a little more than 10 minutes. I don't know. And so I didn't mean to throw any kind of confusion into the discussion. But yeah.
I mean, I don't care what you advertise for a tax rate of, you can advertise 55 cents if you want to for real estate. I think come public hearing time, you're gonna have an audience full out there that's gonna be ready to camp. I agree with Coy, I mean, the town people help to pay for the county schools. And I think the town kids need new schools or renovated schools, just like the ones out in the county did. I still just question if now's the time to do it.
Let's clarify
I
those,
mean, I understand everybody keeps saying interest rates are gonna go up, but I mean, nobody knows for sure what it is.
let's clarify those two last statements, though.
Okay.
That plan was always in place to renovate these schools. You were on the school board. You signed on for that, and we went through that progression at the request of the school board, and they were on target through Jackson and Max Meadows and Rural Retreat, new elementary school, and the new, or the renovated high school. Nothing changed until 2 years ago, and renovation wasn't good enough anymore. That's the hard sell, is why was it good enough all over the county, and now you got to build new schools?
I agree with you.
Well, right off the bat, I'm not in favor of a tax increase. And I've been, for the past 2 years, been going to Richmond, talking to senators, delegates, through FACO and everything else, and putting bills in for the county benefit, trying to get some relief off of real estate and personal property, and I'll continue doing that as long as I'm on the board. Hopefully, if we can get the General Assembly to step up this coming session, hopefully we'll get a bill passed allowing us to put a referendum on the cigarette tax, because I can guarantee you Richmond is not going to give us the power anytime soon to levy a tax on cigarettes without a referendum. I don't know why the Senate even come up with a committee. They were, proposed a committee to study the stress on county and revenue, and it passed unanimously in the Senate and failed in the House. The more I go to Richmond and the more I talk to the people down there, it behooves me of how they get anything done. But, I'm for school renovation. I think definitely the high school and the middle school and the elementary school need to be renovated. I mean, we've done them out in the counties, and they need to be renovated here in the town, and we need to look in the future of what kind of maintenance is being performed on these buildings. I mean, if we don't do maintenance on the buildings before they get in the shape of some of the buildings they're in now, it shouldn't be like that. I mean, we take care of the courthouses, we take care of the other county buildings, and when something breaks, we fix it. And we go down this road every year of the schools increasing our operation budget year after year, but the student population is not increasing. I know some of it is on VRS, and God help us on the health insurance if it keeps going up 12 and 15% every year, and in some counties 20-some%. I feel sorry for Smith County. It's looking at a 26% increase in their health insurance. We try to be fair to the citizens in the county, and I think we've listened to the citizens. I have, as far as the school construction, the new schools versus renovating, and renovation is what they're, that's, what the citizens, even here in the town, majority of the citizens that's called me is for renovation and not new school construction. Whether when he advertised this for 3 or 4 cents tax increase and 10-cent tax increase on personal property, what kind of comments we'll receive on this. I hope we receive a lot. It makes my job easier. But we need to, in the future, making sure what we have renovated is being taken care of and kept up to the standards. When something breaks, it's just a piece of plywood not put over the floor and just left there for 2 or 3 years and not the tiles not being replaced, or a classroom that the tile's been out for 2 or 3 years, and it don't take that much money to replace the tiles in the classroom. And that's my biggest concern is the maintenance being done on the schools. And when we do renovate, if we just not do anything to the schools, it's a never-ending cycle. I mean, we're going to come and be at the same point for, Rural Creek. What we have done in the past, in 5 or 10 years, they're going to be right back in the shape that they're in now. So I'm not saying I'm for it. I'll vote for a tax increase or not vote. I think we need to we'll put it out there at the 3 and 10 cent, and see what, advertise that and have the public hearing, and we'll make our decision to either lower it or extend it for increase over a 3 or 4 year period. And I've said my piece. Anybody else got anything to say?
I have a question I'd like to ask. Do we have something that would give relief to people in poverty for whom we're taxes?
We do have a, yes, we do. And I'll pull it up to give you the exact numbers.
That's always been in place.
But there is an ordinance out there that provides assistance.
I know some of the other counties do that, and I was reading about it. I didn't know if we did or not.
We have the exemption for the elderly and handicapped. That does provide decreases in it. We amended it several years ago. The total combined financial worth of the owners is December 31st of the year immediately preceding the taxable year, and an amount not to exceed $80,000. I could talk to Lori and Ms. Barker and see how many individuals take advantage of that. And give
What
you
was
an
that
idea.
figure? You said 80?
Yeah.
80,000.
Where is that the
That's
poverty
the
level?
handicap ordinance.
Oh, but 80,000 is not anything to do with the poverty level, is it? No. So the question he asked, did we have anything for the poverty level? That old lady that's making it on $700 a month.
This is total financial worth of $80,000. Total financial worth shall include the value of all assets, equitable interest, but it shall exclude the fair market value of the dwelling or the land in which it's situated.
Oh, so it does take that off.
Correct.
They are not forced to sell their home.
And this is an ordinance that has been updated several times over the year to change the rate on it and increase that rate for the household and things like that to take that off. But I can come up with a number from Fay and them about how many individuals are able to take advantage of it and the tax savings it provides to them.
I gotta look at the ordinance, I think it only applies to senior and handicap.
Yep, it
So
does.
if you have a single mom who's 35 years old and doesn't have very much income, I don't think it applies to her.
Do they have a limit on the income?
No, it's a total assets, net or gross worth.
What?
Excluding the house, the home.
That's not the way the feds or social service approach it, is it?
I mean, most of those are on, a lot of those are based on an annual revenue, annual income.
Percentage of the poverty level, and we do the same thing like with water.
Water and sewer discounts, yes.
Well, why wouldn't that apply to real estate taxes?
We could look at it and see. I know this was adopted under the code section that allowed this for elderly and handicapped. I don't know if there's other exemptions that it can apply to or not. I'd have to look at it and see.
Define elderly for me. Just want to see if I.
Look in the mirror, no,
Joseph. I'll take that back, Joe, just
No, I understand.
I mean,
You
this-
won't even give me any insurance.
See.
some days I feel elderly, very elderly.
65 years of age or older.
I guess I'll apply in November. I said, I guess I'll apply in November.
Well, gentlemen, appreciate the conversation, and I know it's difficult. I did not like putting these numbers together. As I went through the budget and to get where we are, Mr. Hale mentioned the towers and the maintenance. I've mentioned that's something I feel is critical. I've talked with both of those department heads. And what's recommended to you all, I've cut that down $100 and some thousand from what they actually requested, just trying to bring everything into balance. So what Mr. Hale's talking about, sort of cutting on some other things in the process, that has been the case and continues to be the case on this budget. I know it's difficult, the tax rate decision, I know it's difficult until we come up with a final plan with the school and how it can live with, but we do need to proceed with an advertisement. And I do need a recommendation of a tax rate to be advertised from you all, and then also included with it the recommended revenue and expenditure budget as drafted to be advertised.
I entertain a motion to advertise the 3 and 10 cent as proposed by the county staff.
And the recommended revenue and expenditure budget as proposed.
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
I second
Any more discussion? I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hamilton?
No.
No.
This is just for advertising, so
Aye. I'm gonna ask a question before we adjourn here. On the tower situation, I know we're looking at money spent on that. Or is the negotiation talk with US Cellular on using towers?
The first conversations with them led to discussions of a fee. I want to say it was $8,000 or $10,000 just for a study to see if it could be located on those towers. Mr. Music was meeting with a representative end of last week from US Cellular to talk about options to see if there's any way that could be decreased or waived for us in the process. So we're still ongoing negotiations.
I mean, what's the $10,000 who would do the study?
They would do the study of what we're putting in there, how it would blend in with what they were doing and all those different things. It's probably just a flat standard fee that applies to everyone, and that's what they quoted to us. And I think it's aimed more at if you're a US Cellular tower and Cellular Company B wants to come locate on you, that's the fee they charge as their initial fee for studying to look at you coming on there. So we are negotiating with them to see if there's any type of waiver of that fee we can get.
He wants to try to get it as high as he can get.
Yes.
So that would push it way beyond Ivanhoe if we get higher on the town. One other question I have, Steve, can you get Jeremy, because we're advertising something here, can you get Jeremy to write an article, say of what we're really doing here and see if the paper will publish?
We pay for it, they'll publish it.
Well, we've already paid.
We pay some of it in the radio.
I think that this needs more explanation than just we're advertising a tax increase, because the average taxpayer is going to assume, and I'm sure that a lot of people feel that way, that we're going to go ahead and approve once we've advertised. So,
You're saying advertising in anticipation of schools, that sort of thing?
No, explain why we have to advertise this rate.
Rating.
So I understand it can be decreased.
Okay, I got you, I understand that.
And get it out there and ask for it, and put in there to ask for feedback from the citizens as much as possible.
On the communication, have we ever looked at buying into states, like a state police communication?
We can't afford it.
Okay.
That's, you go get into, I reckon they're still using the STAR system as far as I know, and you don't go that route. Okay, Mr. Barry, you have anything else?
No, Mr. Chairman, I do not have anything else. Only question that I do have is, 6-year road plan, do you all want to wait and see what comes in and schedule a work session, or schedule something at 5 o'clock before our next
Well,
night meeting, or do you want to schedule something before then?
let's do it that way. Everybody get in their suggestions and have a, let's see, 5 o'clock on our next board meeting.
Martha, that doesn't interfere with anything that you know of, does it?
What date is that?
May 9th.
May 9th?
We have a public hearing on the Ag and Forestal District that night at 7.
But I'll work.
Yeah, and the VDOT 6-year public hearing.
This is 7 or 6.
I don't remember.
Do they normally come in?
We usually do that during the normal session.
Yeah, we had
Oh,
a
they're not
normal
regular?
session.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There was something that we come in at 6 o'clock for, but I-
Sometimes we've done it on a day meeting, but had the 6-year public hearing in the evening. It may have been 6 o'clock
Maybe
then.
that's what I said.
Does any other board member have anything else to bring before the board at this time? Hearing none, I'll declare us adjourned.